India's first delegation from Operation Sindoor Global Outreach has left for Japan, its first stop among 5 countries. The team will also be visiting South Korea, Indonesia, Malaysia and Singapore. As part of the 7 delegations made up of 59 members of parliament. Together, they will travel to 32 countries and the EU headquarters in Brussels as part of India's aim to tackle terrorism. New Delhi's diplomatic outreach comes on the heels of a ceasefire between India and Pakistan. The nuclear-armed neighbors exchanged fire over the deadly terror attack on tourists in Pahalgam. India has blamed Pakistan for the attack, an allegation Islamabad has denied. And for more, we're joined by Neha Poonia reporting live from New Delhi. Neha, thank you for joining us. Tell us more about the delegations and what they hope to achieve.
Well, the first delegations left on Wednesday afternoon local time, heading to the Middle East and to Southeast Asia. The delegation that's heading east will begin its tour on Thursday in Japan and then travel onwards to South Korea, visit Singapore, then go to Indonesia and wrap up what will be a week-long tour in Malaysia. Now, these delegations comprise not just of representatives of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's party, but also include veteran diplomats and opposition leaders, as well as seasoned Indian politicians. And the government says that these delegations have been very carefully selected to show that this is not just the government's messaging that's being delivered, but it's India speaking in a united voice. These delegates are going to be meeting not just government officials in these countries, but also interacting with members of parliament, opposition leaders, bureaucrats, members of the Indian diaspora community, as well as journalists, to really, reiterate the message that India is a victim of cross-border terrorism from Pakistan. It has been a victim for many, many years. India is also going to tell, these countries that it's not just the Pakistani army, but also the Pakistani government that is involved in sending terror groups to Indian soil, with some delegates calling this, quote, a proxy war against India, also saying that, the cross-border terrorism is a challenge for India's social harmony and developmental goals. It's going to say that India is a peace-loving nation, but it will reply if someone attacks India first, and that while India is focused on economic development, Pakistan is busy, quote, with developing terrorism. All of these delegates have been briefed by the Foreign Ministry, and this is the message they'll be delivering, as they travel around the world, in what India says is a firm national stance against cross-border terrorism.
It is a very extensive outreach program. The delegations will cover a total of 32 countries. What's the rationale for picking these places?
Well, the scope and scale of this diplomatic offensive is unprecedented, experts say. There are 7 delegations, comprising 59 members. They'll be traveling to 32 countries, like you said, as well as the European Union, and really covering nearly every continent on this planet. They're going to the South and North Americas, to Europe, to Africa, as well as Southeast Asia. The Parliamentary Affairs Minister, who first announced that these delegations will be travelling out this week, said that they will be travelling to key partner nations, but many of the countries they're visiting are also either permanent or non-permanent members of the United Nations Security Council. Many of them will be rotating a turn into that council in the coming months or years, and India is hoping that these countries will help amplify its message against Pakistan and force the world to hold Islamabad accountable for allowing terror groups to operate on its soil. Interestingly, no visit planned to China, to Turkey or to Azerbaijan, countries that have allied with Islamabad in this standoff. There's also a concern here in New Delhi that, India's voice has not been heard loudly enough during that military standoff. There's also concern that the world hasn't understood that this was India's response to a terror attack, given that, President Trump has been talking about the Kashmir dispute, which is not the case here. So India is really hoping that its voice can be heard in totality through these visits.
Thank you so much for that update. Neha Poonia reporting live from New Delhi.